1, 2, 3.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
teacher
teacher
Lam and
And
teacher Om.
Good morning, students.
Good morning, guys.
Welcome back to another lesson. But let's give teacher Om a minute to do a quick warm-up with us. Okay.
Okay, guys, please show your hands, 2 hands. And then we're gonna do at the same time. And the left, we're gonna cheat, and this is L. We're gonna change. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, Podge, are you ready? I don't see your hand. Please show it now. Okay, thank you. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, thank you guys. Good job.
Good, everyone. So currently we are busy with science. But what are we busy with in science? We are still busy with Unit 6. We're talking about the weather, the sky, and the stars. And last time we spoke a little bit about humidity, and we also spoke about air pressure. But today we're going to speak a little bit more towards the clouds, which we finished off last time. You remember last time? We spoke a little bit about clouds. So I quickly just want to read this part for you guys again before we watch a video, which also explain how clouds work a little bit. So the first type of cloud we find here is a cirrus cloud. Now these are high clouds at 6,000 meters or more above sea level. They are made up of ice crystals. They look like feathers or smoke. So those are the cirrus clouds. We'll have it in the video. We'll see a little different types of cirrus clouds, but they all have the same characteristics. So cumulonimbus clouds. Now this is a vertical cloud that may have the lowest base and the highest ceiling. It is very big and thick, and it also contains a dark color. There is condensed dew inside this type of cloud, and it is also sometimes known as the thunder cloud, the one that brings all the rain. So cumulonimbus clouds are the ones that bring us rain. And the cumulus clouds, these are generally low clouds. They have a rounded shape with a flat base, and they can be seen on dry and sunny days. So these types of clouds, in the morning, they will start getting bigger and bigger to a certain point, and at night they will start becoming smaller again. So they're not really going to bring us rain, but they are the cause and effect of evaporation that happens, and water particles or water vapor entering the Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so let's quickly watch a short video explaining the different clouds, so we can do something a little bit different today. Where's my video? Here. So let's really pay attention. Make sure we listen. Okay, the sound is on. Only 4 minutes. Oh wait, I first have to pause the recording. So that was our video about the clouds and different types of clouds that we can find. We'll have a look at that in a little bit more detail, but first, for those that watch the video at home or on YouTube after the class, here is the name of the video if you want to Google the video to watch the video we just watched, or this is the link that you'll have to type into your search bar if you want to watch the video that we just watched. Okay, so We talked a little bit about clouds, but we also need to talk about different types of water we found in the atmosphere. So what is the next one that we can think of? And this is sometimes something we can see very early mornings. Also in the rainy season, if you go to Putterberg in the early morning, just before the sun comes up, you'll find these fog clouds. Now, fog is made up of visible water droplets in the air that are grouped together near the Earth's surface. It looks a bit like white smoke and can often be seen in the mornings or in the evenings. So fog, where do you think you will see fog the most often? Who wants to take a guess? Where can you find smoke? Not smoke, fog. That, okay, it looks like white smoke, yes. But where can you find fog quite often? Who knows? Anyone want to take a guess? Where do we find fog the most often? Well, in my experience, we usually find the most fog in the mountains. Because in the mountains, there is large temperature differences. Because sometimes at the top of the mountain, it's much cooler than at the bottom of the mountain. So there's usually a large difference in temperatures when the air is flowing. And this also creates a very good environment for fog to form together. And then usually early morning or late evening, when the sun is not shining anymore, that is the time when the fog will build up. And that's when you can see the fog on the mountain. And when the sun comes out and the sun shines for a little while, then the fog disappears. Okay, so that's why usually only in the morning and in the evening is the times where we will find fog. The next one is dew. Dew is a water vapor that condenses to form a drop of water. It can be seen on the grass and leaves at dawn. Okay, so have any of you ever seen dew? Well, in Thailand, I've seen dew quite often, especially when it's in the raining season. That just passed us a couple of months ago. It will rain during the day and it will stop raining at night. But then the air will cool down at night and there will be water droplets that will form on the grass or on plant leaves. So when the air cools and the water vapor, which is a gas, becomes a liquid, which is water, it will form on top of the leaves or grass because it cools down on those surfaces. So a lot of the times you can find indigenous people, you find in Africa, they call them the Bushmen. They live in the desert and they use the dew that they can gather during the night for water during the day, because the desert doesn't have a lot of water, but it can produce a lot of dew. So they catch that with a ostrich egg. They catch the dew with an ostrich egg to drink during the day. Okay, the next one is frost. Now frost, I've never seen frost in Thailand before. But frost is a kind of snowflake that forms on objects or plants when the air temperature is lower than freezing point, that the dew becomes ice. So what happens sometimes, where I'm from, in South Africa, we get a time during the year when it's winter. And when it's winter, it gets very cold. You can get temperatures of -5, minus 10 degrees Celsius. So then if you're standing outside, you're going to be standing there shaking. So we always have to wear some gloves. You have to put a scarf, maybe a thick jacket, maybe even 2 or 3 pair of pants, because it gets very cold. Now the plants, they don't always like the cold. So what sometimes can happen is the leaves can start freezing. The water in the leaves freezes, and then the plant leaves die and fall off. So it will form like almost like a white layer on top of the leaf or on the grass. And it's like a little bit hard when you step on the grass. It's like icy. Like when you step, you can feel it being a little bit icy. Now that's frost. So in my country, South Africa, we don't find snow. We have frost. Well, you find a lot of countries in Europe have snow, which is not really frost, because it's a different form of a snowflake that forms. Okay. And number 5 is rain. A raindrop is a condensed water droplet that is at least 0.5 millimeters in diameter. As raindrops get bigger, they become heavier. Eventually, they get so heavy, they fall to the ground as rain. Now, this is important because how does rain form? Rain forms through evaporation from water by the sun. So the sun heats up the ground, and in the ground we have lakes, we have dams and ponds, and the heat from the sun allows some water vapor to evaporate into the air. Now, if enough water vapor evaporates into the air, we form clouds, like we saw here. We form different types of clouds. And the ones we really care about the most is the cumulonimbus cloud, because that's the one that brings a lot of rain, and it's also very big. It's very, very big. So just imagine how much water vapor evaporated from the earth to create a cloud that big. So there's a lot of water vapor on a daily basis that gets evaporated. And then the other rainy cloud is also the stratus clouds. They also produce rain. But these ones produce a rain, a very light rain, but for a long time. So while we are still busy with the topic of all the waters, why is water so important? Who can tell me? Why is water so important? Let's see if you remember. Who wants to take a guess? Why is water so important? So let me ask another question first. Can we live without water?
No.
No.
Okay, very good. So we cannot live without water. So why is water important to us? Because it keeps us alive. We need it in our daily life. We need water. We cannot live without water. It's impossible. So the whole process of how water evaporates and then falls back down to the surface as rain is very important for a lot of reasons. Firstly, it provides us with water that we can use other than ocean water. Because in the previous lesson, we spoke, or previous unit, we spoke about how we cannot use ocean water to drink. and how there's so much ocean water in the world. Most of the water, what 93% of water is ocean water. So that 7% is for water that comes to us through raining and through rainwater. And that 7% of water we use for our showering, we use for drinking the water, we use for making a garden, we use for construction, for cooking, for a lot of things. We use that 7%. So this process of the water leaving the planet and then coming back to the surface of it as rain is one of the most important happenings that we can have. And it's also important to sometimes just say thank you for the rain, even though it might be raining every day for a week. Because if it does not rain, we don't have water. And you can see that in some parts of northeastern Thailand, a couple of years ago, they also struggled with some drought, where there was not enough running water, not enough rain, so not enough water for the people to use in their daily lives. Okay, so that's one important part. Like some of the other clouds we find, like the cumulus clouds, they aren't really rain clouds. They don't bring rain. But they become small and then bigger and smaller and bigger as the time goes on. So eventually they form into also bigger cumulonimbus clouds. Because cumulus and cumulonimbus, they are also from the same family of clouds, because they build up and become bigger and bigger and bigger. Now the cumulonimbus clouds is a buildup of a lot of cumulus clouds. So the cumulonimbus cloud is a very, very big cloud that we use, we see when it is raining. Usually also very dark and sometimes has some thunder in it. Okay. Very weird. Yeah. So let's look at some instruments that we can use to measure how much rain we have received. And also then we'll look at hail. Hail is also one of the other forms of rain that we can experience. So first things first, let's read the voice bubble over here. Okay. A rain gauge is used to measure the amount of rainfall. It is a glass tube with a glass funnel at the top of the tube. So it can collect the rain and store it in the tube. Then we can measure the amount of rain by reading the value of the tube. The unit of measurement is millimeters. So here we can see a type of water funnel that we use, or a rain gauge. So how does it work? So you can see at the top, it has like a little funnel piece here for where the water collects as it rains, collects there in that area, and then the water flows down through the funnel into the cup holder. Now on this cup holder, there are small measurements in millimeters. You can't see it clearly now, but I'll show you another picture. Let me quickly find another picture of a rain gauge to show you. Find you quickly a few images which look a little bit better. So these are different types of rain gauges we can find. So you can see they have, like if you look at this one over here, it has measurements. So we can measure how much millimeters of rain we have received. Now, why do you think it's important to use these types of instruments? Well, I can tell you for one reason. It's good for research. And in science, a lot of what we know is due to the research that we have done in the past. So, for instance, if I measure all the rain throughout the whole year, I can then see, okay, this month it rained this much, but the month before only a little bit. And for instance, in December and January, we didn't have any rain. But maybe in the next couple of months, we might start to have some rain again. So then you can measure when there is a lot of rain and when there's only a little bit. Plus, you can also see which months it's raining in. And that's important, for instance, for farmers that need to plant their seeds or need to plant their crops. They need to know when the rain is going to fall so that their plants can have water to grow into their crops and into the plants and vegetables and fruits that we like to eat and that we need. Okay, so these instruments, they are very basic. And even in my home back in Namibia, back home, almost every house has their own one. So you can measure and say to your friend, oh, I got 20 millimeters of rain last night. And then your friend said, oh, at us, it was only 15 millimeters of rain. So then it's you can compare to see where it rains more and less. It's quite a handy tool to have. It's nice to have. Okay. Let's go back there. So here we can see the different amounts of rain in 24 hours. So here they give us an example. Let me zoom in a little bit more so we can read a bit clearer. So when you have 0 to 0.1 to 10 millimeters of rain, we would say that we had a light rain. If you have 10 millimeters to 35 millimeters of rain, we have moderate rain. Moderate is like a bit more than light, less than heavy. It's moderate. If you have between 35.1 and 90 millimeters of rain, then you have heavy rain. That's very heavy rain, or not very heavy, but it is heavy rain. And you can see a lot of water coming from the sky. But if you have 90 millimeters and above, that is very heavy rain. And you don't see that amount of rain every day when it's raining. It's quite rare to find that amount. I know that in Thailand, in the months closer towards October, from April to October, there is also some days that have this very heavy rain. And in the past, if the very heavy rain continues for more than a couple of days, it can cause flooding. Something that we don't see often, but something that does happen from time to time, where we get too much rain and we don't know how to deal with all the water. Okay. Well, let's look at the last little part here at the bottom. Number 6. Excuse me, is hail. Now, hail is a form of rain that froze. So let's read about it. Hail is made up of lumps of ice that falls to the ground. Hail forms inside thunderclouds. The air is very cold inside these clouds, so droplets of water freeze and stick together. Eventually, as they get heavier, they fall to the earth as hail. And here's a nice picture that they show us over here. Look at how the ice is lying on the ground. Now this ice is the hail. Now hailstorms you don't often find in Thailand because the temperature in Thailand is usually on the higher side. But where I'm from, we do find hail. And in some places in the world, you find hail that is so dangerous that you have to hide inside your house because it can give you a concussion. Ice balls as big as golf balls falling from the sky at very high speeds. So sometimes they can be very dangerous. I've seen hailstorms that damage a whole car, break the front window of the car, it dents the roof, dent the front part of the car, and it can cause a lot of damage. But it's only when the temperature above the surface of the earth is very cold, and in those big cumulonimbus thunderclouds, if it's very cold inside there, yes, then the water can freeze. It's possible for it to freeze. Okay. Zoom out here. So next time, the next lesson, I want to talk a little bit about the stars in the sky. So I wanted to just read this short passage before we close off today's lesson and do a quick revision about what we've done today. Where's my block? Yeah. So stars in the sky are in space, which is outside the atmosphere of the planet. So obviously stars are above the Earth's atmosphere. With both stars and planets, stars are light sources which can be seen. The planet is not a light source, but can be visible because of the sun's rays. So we will look into stars next time to give us a little bit more of an insight of how they are born, how they live their lives, and how they also eventually die. Okay. So that's just what I wanted to give you a quick tease. And I have a nice video that we can watch about the universe and how it came about. Okay. So that's what we're going to do for next time. But for today, we spoke a little bit about the humidity that we covered last time. We spoke about clouds, different types of clouds. We get the cirrus clouds, we get the cumulonimbus clouds, we get the cumulus clouds, we get the stratus clouds. We also then spoke about fog, how fog is formed, where it comes from, and how it disappears. We spoke about dew and how it forms. We also spoke about frost and rain and the importance of rain. And lastly, we spoke about hail and how rain sometimes can freeze to cause ice balls that fall to the sky, to fall to the earth as rain. Okay. So that's about it for today's science class. Thank you all for coming. But this morning, I quickly wanted to test you to see if anyone can beat the teacher. Who's brave enough to challenge teacher today and to maybe win, maybe not? Let's see. Let's see. Are you guys ready? Are you steady? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Oh, Posh, Jasmine, Leon, Panatat. Hey, congratulations. A lot of you guys today. Yeah, excellent, excellent. That's a good start for a Wednesday morning. Very well done. Congratulations to all of you. And for the rest, next lesson, you'll have another opportunity. But I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes. Thank you all for coming to the lesson. Hope you learned something new. And I'll see you in the next class. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.